Greetings, family. Blessings and wholeness. One love. What's up? Jesse Tree here. Hope you're having a beautiful day. Having a beautiful but blustery day here in northern New Mexico. But pretty fantastic looking outside right now. Just cold. Welcome, welcome. Wait for a few people to hop on here. Welcome to Juicing with Jesse, where we talk about juicing, all things herbal and prana and breatharianism and permaculture. These are just the things I love, my brand, if you will. I am a matrix buster. That's my duty and purpose here, is to wake people up cellularly and to heal land and just do as much of that as I can, because I think that is actually the way to subvert and transmute the matrix and birth the new earth. So that's what we're here to do today and every day. Gonna detoxify, fast, nourish, work, create, and realize we're not consumers, we're creators, and that we can create whatever reality we want as the divine eternal consciousness that flows through all things. So anyway, today I am just getting ready. This is my one time a week when I can connect with my digital community, and I'm simultaneously preparing my juice for work tomorrow, because I spend, just to familiarize you a little bit with my schedule and path. I'm, I guess, I don't know what level they call it. I'm a breatharian, liquidarian. I do like 90-95% liquids, and I'll allow myself a little bit of raw, just lettuce, salad basically, and seaweed from time to time, or pretty regularly, honestly. And also, I'll include some nuts and stuff in dressings. And I dry fast 23 hours a day. I'm also a permaculture consultant, designer, and installation specialist. So I install food forests for people and help them design urban spaces for food sovereignty and habitat and what have you, utilizing the four elements of earth, wind, fire, and water. This is the architecture of our school and our philosophy. We can heal people and we can heal land, because they're the constituent elements everywhere. And then when they're in balance, they're thriving. And when they're out of balance, there's disease or, dysfunction, we'll say. So it's, sadly, I love doing permaculture, but I'm addicted to gardening, and my body at coming up to 50, I feel incredible from the breatharian path, but I have been putting too much wear and tear on my muscles and joints. And so as I'm moving into my 50s, I'm thinking about rebuilding and some more of my spiritual pursuits primary. And I want to affect as many people as possible and infect them with the love of gardening, with the love of self-care and plant nutrition, herbalism, because, it's just such a juicy space. It's, the abundance we forget. We're all chanting for abundance, and we forget it's actually all around us, and it's a blessing that's here every day. There's wild foods all around all of us. There's actually 13 wild foods that follow the human footprint all across the planet. Everywhere we disturb soil, there are 13 wild foods that can completely nourish and sustain us. And mostly we spray Roundup on them and pull them out as weeds and, think of them as terrible things. But they're really the plant cesters coming to show up and support. Always there. And this is the path I've been teaching for some time, the path of pronoia versus the path of paranoia. Pronoia is the knowing the universe is conspiring in your favor, versus paranoia that the universe is conspiring against you. So let's remember that in these times, that everything that's happening right now is part of some change that needs to happen. I think we all see that, know that. Hi, Jules. And we have to honor the transition, honor the traumas and the truths that have been sort of subliminated personally and collectively, so that we can ascend to New Earth, which essentially is in all of the. There's definitely a Native American prophecy about this time where human beings can choose the path of fear, control, technology, etc., or choose the path of nature, freedom, and letting go. Blessings from New Mexico. I'd love to see El Salvador sometime. Thanks for sending the blessings from El Salvador. How sweet. I am a Panamanian by blood on my mother's side, and I got to go to Costa Rica this last summer, and man, I tell you, Latin America is calling to me. I really want to get there. So yeah, I'm transitioning out of doing permaculture to be more focused in this space. It also is clear to me that in order for the revolution and ascension to occur, we all have to take it on personally to do this cellular detoxification, that the issues are in our tissues, crystallized through years of abuse of utilizing the wrong foods and environmental toxicity and all these things. So to be able to bring in our highest potential, our eternal God selves, then we need to take it upon ourselves to do this transmutation of our bodies and our minds, so that we can actually contain the consciousness or resonate the consciousness of New Earth and start to live from that place, realizing we actually have all of the tools we need to be supported through permaculture. Permaculture, that's why I'm so passionate about it. We can grow 8 acres of food on 1 acre by designing your... Hi, Kitten Monk. There's another permaculturist. One love, sister. Like a forest. There's actually more food, more quantity and diversity of food in a forest than in a field. And we just have to, transmute our model of agriculture from perennial agriculture, where we till the land, which releases carbon into the air, and then we plant one crop, a lot of spraying, even in the organics, they still have to spray down, pesticides, or just organic ones, so that stuff, is still, it's helpful in the realm of gardening and creating produce, but how helpful is it into taking it into our bodies? Whereas when you're using wild foods, perennial foods, they come back year after year and get bigger and bigger, and you stack them and layer them like a forest. So you have like a herbaceous layer and a shrub layer and a understory and an overstory, that's all productive, and very diverse. Then you have a stable system, and we can build homes out of earth. And we're gonna be hit, family, here in America. There's times are a changing. At some point, the economic fallout from the pandemic and the wars and the accumulating debt is going to fall out. And these skills, land-based skills, and skills of regulating our nervous system through meditation, the pranic path, learning that we don't need so much, that really our needs are more mental and emotional and spiritual in nature. And we definitely have physical needs, and they all play into each other, but if we make the primacy of our well-being be, we're all convinced that we got to go to this job and you got to go make money. We spend most of our lives away from our families, our projects, our heart desires, because we have this feeling of need to sacrifice. And I think those inner desires are actually our gifts that we're meant to give to the world in a gift economy, where, you know, if you're moved to be a midwife, if you're moved to be an herbalist or a carpenter, or, you know, or an artist, or, you know, there's still all these needs, you know, in our community that don't have to go through the economic system. So how do we build this is my question, and what I want to put into the consciousness out there is, how do we build this while we still have the economic system going, so that we can feed currency and energy into it and cause it to grow, and, you know, retreat so that we can sequester carbon and do everything we can to mitigate the environmental damage we've done, because this toxicity that we put out into the world, we bioaccumulate more than any other organism. So you see, you know, the polluted riverways and trash and all that stuff like that, and then you look at the blood under the microscope, and there's all this candida and microplastics and, you know, things floating through the blood. And so that's what I mean about the importance of taking it on to do the cellular detoxification, so that we can embody this consciousness and come in more clear to this connection of all things, our connection with land and animals and plants and rivers, and so that it's not just this myopic, how do I, you know, make my abundance and, you know, help just my health just be amazing, and, you know, that's all great, that's wonderful, and those are things to celebrate along the way, but we should have our goals set at a higher goal. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's dream in the new earth. Let's make it become. Let's work on it. Let's not just dream it. Let's put action, and it's happening. It's happening in diaspora ways, you know. So, and eventually, I think that's actually the most beneficial, because then you have like the sensitivity to your local ecology, your local cultures. You know, how do we integrate from that place, understanding more that the diversity of peoples and place, to integrate into an ecological model, you know, that is also an economic model, that is also a health model, antithetical to, I love this lady, Adama Speaks, check her out on, she's on Spotify, she's on YouTube, but she says that the whole depopulation agenda, you know, there's all these things that they're doing, you know, like the pandemic and etc. The main thing is the piecemeal detoxification of the world and the people, and that this undermines us behaviorally. You know, you can't embody your fullness if you're drinking and you're smoking and you're, you know, watching porn and violent movies and eating meat from the system where there's 1,000 sad cows that have been crushed in a compactor, you know, full of stress chemicals, and like, you're just eating and becoming all of that, and so you can't embody that higher vibration of peace and loving kindness and, you know, clarity of thought and things. And so that's, to me, that's what the breatharian path is about. So anyway, that's my little soapbox piece. Thank you for hearing me out. If you waited this long through it, I appreciate you. I invited Nabiha and Jerome and my brother Marcus for today, but I invite anyone these Mondays to just jump on here with me, or leave me a question. You know, if you have a question about herbs or juicing. One little tidbit I wanted to share that was just interesting to me, that I hadn't actually known before through my Juice Guru Institute training and the Juice Mastery program. We learned that you should never do caffeine alongside of a juice fast, because caffeine binds potassium, and particularly coffee, you know, on down to matcha, it's like a step down exponentially, and then matcha step down exponentially to theobromine, cacao. So it'll bind up potassium, so that's some of the electrolytes you need to absorb the waters, but it also can affect the heart, and you can have, like, you know, arrhythmias or palpitations from caffeine basically robbing your body of potassium. or just not allowing you to absorb it really, because it's bound. So just a note. And on that note, there's just the whole thing of electrolytes. Today's juice, I am making watermelon juice, one of my very favorite. I do it as often as I can, and they just started having watermelon at the store, totally out of season, I know. Seedless, once again, I prefer all that stuff, but when in Rome, do as Romans do. It's hard to find good watermelon here in the desert, except for at high growing season at the farmer's market. So, watermelon's awesome for that electrolyte balance and for potassium and everything like that. And it's interesting how many things you can heal just by going on a juice feast. I also learned about some good stuff about detoxification. That's another note I wanted to leave with y'all today. Those of you who have been vaxxed and wish to do a vax detox, or if you are concerned about shedding, there are some ways that I'll just share briefly here. I won't share the whole thing, and there's no medical claims or anything like that. It's just things you can do, things that people are exploring with and researching out there. One is EDTA, and this will help, take care of parasites, take care of heavy metals, all manner of stuff. And you just do a pinch under your tongue and let it dissolve every other week, and it can help with that. And then alongside of that, I use, grass juices. Is always gotta hawk my wares here. I'll use Power Shake, which has grass juice, alfalfa juice, oat straw juice, spirulina, I think, or is it chlorella? Anyway, good greens that will chelate. Brother says, what is that product? This is Purium, Pure Plus Premium. It's a company that the founder who started it, Dave Sandoval, originally worked with Ann Wigmore at the Hippocrates Institute, which is a place that supported the reversal of cancer. And one of the main things they leaned on were grass juices and just greens and seaweeds and stuff, because they are simultaneously mineralizing and chelating, so they will pull heavy metals out of the body and detoxify at the same time as supplanting that with dense mineral nutrient. So thank you. The one before that about detoxing parasites, heavy metal, EDTA. Look it up, EDTA, and do your own research. I'm just putting out some education. Have to say that as an herbalist and just to protect myself, but it's crazy the things that you can and cannot say if you want to not be canceled or actually bullied. Nice. This is nice. Dr. Brian Ardis talks about that. Yes. Yeah, it's a lot of people. Also, David Avocado Wolf has some stuff about Vax Detox. There's some others, but my whole program would be that basically, plus dense mineral greens of some kind. That could also come in the form of juices. So when detoxing heavy metals, people always talk about how cilantro is really good for detoxing heavy metals, which is true. But when people detox and cleanse, when they get in trouble, they get sick, or actually some people even die, is because of autotoxicity, the liberation of these toxins into our bloodstream that essentially can poison us. So you have to be careful detoxing carefully and slowly, and not too much too fast. But when you do cilantro, it liberates it and gets it into the blood, but then it will be refiltered through your liver and your kidneys unless you have a chelator or binder, so with the cilantro thing, if you add parsley will help chelate and bind and pull that out. Other things would be things like zeolite clay, and this is just good in general for taking up residual heavy metals, but you got to work your way up with the dosage, and you got to be careful to get good quality zeolites. Some of them have found it be kind of dirty. I can't really recommend a brand offhand, but just that's something you could research. So yeah, and then another thing with respect to anti-parasitic, I do soaked and sprouted nut milks for part of my liquiditarian lifestyle, and pumpkin seed is one of the only alkaline seeds on Dr. Sebi's list. So it's an alkaline seed, but it's also anti-parasitic, high in zinc, has an affinity for men's sexual reproductive health and prostate health. And so I'll make this into a nut milk. You can see here it's soaking and sprouting. So it's been soaking now for 8 hours. You want it to soak for at least 8 hours. Hey there, brother. Self-Mastery Solo Man. What's up, brother? Good to see you. So yeah, we got our alkaline pumpkin seed milk. You just soak a cup of nuts in water for 8 hours. I'll strain this. I'm not going to do it on the live because it involves the blender for a minute and it's like loud and obnoxious. But blend it up for a minute and then put it through a nut milk bag, into a bowl, and strain it out and squeeze it out. And then what you'll have left is a really high quality alkaline nut milk, more electric style on the breatharian path. We're trying to. It's really about increasing the body's electricity. That's what health is about. It's not about diets can support that. Herbs can support that, and truly, foods and herbs are a form of prana. They're just a dense form. There's actually, rarefied prana in, this watermelon in the form of what they call biophotons. That if you take a Kirlian photograph of this watermelon, and look at this, you see this? This is something we look for in permaculture. This is called the von Karman series. You see that also is like a form of mushrooms or spiraling water. This is the bone, water shapes our bones, etc. Anyways, if you take a Kirlian photograph of this, you'll see electricity coming off of it. And that's essentially prana, is this. The word prana and the word chi both literally translate as the breath of life. And hence the word breatharianism. We're really just enhancing the breath of life. The breath that breathes us is the breath of the one, of the eternal one, and it's not us who breathes us. If you try to hold your breath, you'll pass out and you'll start breathing, because the one is breathing you alive. He's always, he, she, it is always supporting us, the eternal. You are eternal. You come from the eternal, and you are in eternity now. And when you graduate Earth plane, you will also be eternal. So, part of the idea with the pranic lifestyle is life extension, so that we can have more time to refine ourselves and become Buddhas, to become more awakened, so that we can develop the merit and the experiences to be able to lift other beings out of suffering. So yeah, prana is in the fruits, it's in the herbs, but you got to understand that we are energy beings. That if you took one of your atoms and split it, it would be a cataclysmic explosion. That you have trillions of cells that all have the capacity to make like 0.1 volts, which means trillions of volts that could run through your body. But it's all about conductivity. Your skeleton is actually a conductor, a semiconductor, a superconductor, and a resonator. It's a piezoelectric, pyroelectric carbon silica crystal. And your DNA is also crystalline. And you're really just energy, which all atomic energy, all matter, is mostly space. And it's our mind that makes it real, that makes that sensorial, tactile feeling of the reality of things. But really, we are energy. So this is part of the dawning as we move into the new age, and the new earth. it's really it's a real thing that has been capitalized upon, and I think there's been psyops, with um, sort of the skewing of what's going on. What's really going on is we're moving back to our natural selves, our eternal God selves, through nature. That's the portal. So, anyways, I mean, I have other things to just share here in terms of sustaining yourself in these times. I highly suggest sprouting. It's so easy to sprout on your counter. You can get these cool little lids, and then you just get like clover sprouts, broccoli sprouts, whatever you want to have. And I put a third a cup of sprouts in here, and this thing still has a day to go. And then I'll juice these sprouts, and this is a sprouted seed has as much as 200% more nutrient than the seed itself. It is all of the leaf fruiting and flowering and fruiting potential that has been activated, right? So this is super nutrient dense, and when I juice it, that even creates more dense nutrition. Hey there, Oleg. One love, brother. Welcome everyone. Anyone who wants to come on here, welcome. I have to let my dog out real quick. But yeah, so you can do that really cheap. It's a great way to include raw, very healing. The Hippocrates Institute, who did all that work with cancer research and stuff, they've actually reversed more cancer than any other organization anywhere in history. And their main thing they focus on is greens, sprouts, things like olives, a little bit of, like nuts and stuff like that. But like this, soaked. Whenever you're using nuts, always soak them, because they have phytates that are nutrient inhibitors. So they'll actually block your body from absorbing nutrient. And that's the seed's way of protecting itself. But if you soak it and potentiate it in that way, then that layer of phytic acid is removed and it's made more bioavailable. So we always want to soak our nuts and seeds, because they'll make you nuts. The nuts they really mess up your guts and make you feel farty, and they're super acidic. So in terms of that, just for the breatharian, those interested in that, I center on alkaline nuts like pumpkin seed, hemp seed, coconut, macadamia nut. That's pretty much all the nuts I use to make my nut milks, And I really feel that more in the winter. In the summer, it's way easier for me to do fruits. And in the winter, I like nut milks and green juices more. And I think that goes in line with Ayurveda and the way the body changes with the season and the environment. So that in the winter, you need, if you think about what's available in the winter, roots, nuts, maybe some greens, out in your environment right now. Maybe what could you find if you were a forager, or if you had foraged them in the good season. If you're in a cold place, you would be probably eating like acorns and dried greens and different things. Brother Sensi says, like walnuts, Brazil nuts, and hazelnuts. Yeah, they're all fine, and it doesn't have to be all alkaline all the time. That all alkaline, high raw is really a healing, very much for acute healing needs, and juicing, but there are levels to the health that if you practice, that's what's been happening with me. I'm now like 16 years raw vegan and like 8 years liquiditarian. So, it's a progression that can happen, but should happen. You should think of it as nourishing yourself into this high state of health through high mineral, high water, high biophotonic food, and so that's the journey. That's been my journey anyways. It's been fun. It's been amazing. I'm so grateful for it, and this is my passion and my purpose. That's another reason why I'm not moving out of permaculture. I still want to do design if people want design from me. But where I'm called and where I feel most moved is to work with people. Right now, I'm grateful that I have like 3 clients ongoing and that the coaching is picking up, because I've been doing it for a while, but it's been kind of I've been doing it for years, but it's been piecemeal and getting a little bit more of a steady stream going. So if I can help any of y'all, you want to, have a 1-hour consultation with me and talk about your health goals or pick my brain about herbs or nutrition, please reach out to me, or you can click the in my bio, not the link, but it's a link tree, because it has all my superfoods and stuff are there, like the power shake and things. So hope you got something from this, family. I'm gonna wrap up and make my juice, but love you all, sending you all the bless. May you rise to your eternal. My greatest prayer every day is that we remember ourselves, because we are eternal, majestic, powerful beings. Hey, there's Jerome. I'm signing off, Jerome. I'm sorry, I gotta go. Good to see you there, though. Thanks for joining, everyone. Have a beautiful day, family. One love.